Hi, we're the policy team at Voices, here to bring you an update from the August special session. The General Assembly is back in Richmond to revisit the budget after a lower than predicted revenue forecast due to the pandemic. They're also here to revisit some criminal justice reforms and have been meeting on the bills and budgets this week. Our team's going to tell you a little bit more about what's been going on.
Thanks. So I'm going to start us with child welfare. And unfortunately, a lot of the historic investments that were made during the 2020 General Assembly session are now out of the budget. However, we are working with two delegates to restore some of that funding. Delegate Brewer has filed a budget amendment to restore the increases to child welfare workforce, and we know that they are first responders during this pandemic. The second thing that we're also working strongly towards is community-based grant funding for our child welfare workforce. And Emily, you may need to mute your computer because there's a lot of background noise. Thank you, but we'll continue, and that's generally what we're talking about, and you can find a lot more details in our blog. And so Ashley can take it from here.
So typically for mental health, much of the policy work is done through the budget. And like my colleagues mentioned, many of the historic investments were unallotted or they were frozen, and then they're no longer part of the proposal. But there are some really, really great bills that were put before advocates and legislators, focusing on again, around mobile crisis and mental health and the intersection between law enforcement and mental health. It's really looking to make sure that individuals who are in mental health crisis are not traumatized or through the law enforcement process, but treated with care and dignity and begin the treatment process with mental health providers. So we're really excited that there are two opportunities, slightly different models that propose to build a statewide crisis co-responder model. So more to come about that next week. There will be bills in the House about that. They were heard already in the Senate this week, and then more on the budget next week. And Emily?
Yeah, so the state of play of the budget is that the governor has frozen many of the new initiatives this session. And so we're trying to find, at this point, we're pushing for more funding to be used from rainy day funds, from unallotted money, and from the CARES Act. And that's going to make the difference about whether there are these opportunities to restore access to healthcare, to do more funding for childcare, to provide nutrition access. And so we are pushing for the governor and the legislature to really look at tapping into those resources that have not been used. So we'll be coming to you with more information next week. Allison, there's also a bill we followed this week on paid sick days.
Yes, we were working Senator Favola's bill to provide sick leave for individuals in Virginia who would be impacted by COVID-19. The bill would have provided coverage for any person. And one of the most important things and why we were advocating for it was because it would also apply to an individual's child. We wanted to ensure that children would have a caregiver at home with them if they were sick, and they wouldn't have to choose between providing for their family and taking care of their child. We stood with lots of other advocates who strongly believed in paid leave. Unfortunately, that bill did not pass that committee. However, there is a second bill from Delegate Guzman that we will also be working on the rest of this special session.
So, Ashley, what are the opportunities to get involved?
There are a number of opportunities to get involved. When we think about our budget, we need advocates. We need folks in the community who have been directly impacted, to share their stories with legislators, because legislators really want to hear from those that the policies will impact. So we will have action alerts next week that that advocates and folks interested in these policies impacting kids and families can use to contact their legislators.
Right now, this weekend, you can also join us and record a video and talk. It's very easy. We were suggesting in only a minute, 30 seconds to quickly talk about why you think kids deserve to be included in this budget and why you care for kids. So check out our link to our Flipgrid. We already have some examples there. We're going to be reposting and sharing our videos on every Monday as a way to really kick off each week with that focus on caring for children. Other thing you can do is sign up for our email list. Every Friday during a session, we send out a weekly summary of what happened during the General Assembly called our Voices from the Capitol. If you don't get it, we'll include the link for you guys to sign up for it and get it and share it with your friends. If you do, make sure that you subscribe this week too. So we're excited to work on more of these issues. It's been a wild ride already, and we're not sure how long this special session is going to last. But we really appreciate everybody who wants to weigh in and make sure that our lawmakers are paying attention to children and that children and families are getting the best help that they deserve during this time of such hardship and crisis. Thank you for joining us today. Please share our messages.
Bye, all.